Okay, so we're going to run through just some of the very basic groundwork SEO pieces right now that are going to be important. The first thing that I'm going to have you do is go into your marketing area, into SEO. There is an SEO checklist here that you can go through, but these are kind of some of the basic things that you can start with. Very, very, very important is that you're going to need to make sure that you put in basically your site description, and this should include some keywords, but it needs to be very, very conversational in nature. You don't want to just keyword stuff. This is what people are actually going to see when they are searching for you. So whatever your site title is, and whatever your, let's go back out actually. So if I go into design, logo, and title, you should have a site title, and then if you have a tagline that goes along with your business, then that will also kind of show up. So if we come back out here to marketing, then SEO, you'll see that right now I just have A&M remediation as the site title. Then I need to put a description. Your description, whatever you're putting in, is going to show up here. This is what the preview is going to look like when someone is looking at your website as a search result, when it comes up on Google or another search engine platform. So the first usually 1 to 2 sentences is what the public is going to see. So you want to have something that's kind of engaging and draws them in and makes them want to click on that search result. The other content that's below, they won't necessarily see, but Google and Bing and the other search engines are seeing it. So you want to make sure that you're putting some valuable information in, but again, make sure that it's very conversational in nature. So that is the most important step initially. Next, you're going to want to go through all of your pages and make sure that your URL slugs are clean. So for instance, every page that I go to, I'm going to click this settings wheel, and this is my URL slug. It should be short, it should be to the point. It should not you need to make sure that, like, especially if you've used a template, you don't want to have a URL slug that has to do with that old site template. So if I chose a template that was about weddings and it said our story, and I didn't change that, but I'm actually like, well, our story wouldn't be as bad, but let's say it said RSVP, but I was a lawyer, it would be really silly to have a URL slug that says RSVP because that has nothing to do with my business. And so you want to make sure that it's appropriate. You want to make sure that it's titled correctly. You don't have like -1s or copy or any of those types of things. We want to make sure that it's up to date. When you change these, you're going to have to go back through your site and make sure that all of your links work, because if you've made a button and you've had that button go to your contact page and your contact page did say contact one, and this is what you linked it to, and now you've cleaned it up and you've got rid of the -1, Squarespace doesn't understand that. So that button is still trying to go to -1 and it doesn't exist anymore. So it's going to take you to a lost page. So we're going to go ahead and just cancel out of that for right now. You're going to go through that and do that on all of your pages. You're also going to want to make sure on your pages to make sure that all of your images are alt text tagged. So if you do have an image, which they don't, but let me put one in here really quickly. As you're putting images in, most of us tend to name our images like just whatever comes from our camera. So it might say, or our phone, like image_2538, and that's bad. Alt text tagging, we're lucky because Squarespace does that for us. A lot of other platforms do not do that for us. But it's basically meant for ADA compliance for the Americans with Disability Act. It's what basically happens when someone is using a reader program on their computer. This is actually reading whatever the name of the image is to them. So if someone hovers over it and all they hear is image_2588, that does them no good. So that doesn't help your SEO. When Google sees that you've named them and you've named them appropriately, they first of all are like, great, they're being ADA compliant, that's great, they're going to get some extra points from us. If they see that you are naming it something that's appropriate and makes sense and works with the content, then that's obviously even better. But it's also a great place for you to put in some extra SEO juice. So rather than just saying partners, it can say link to partners of Jen Maher and Nerdville. So by that, I have actually changed the name of my image, but kind of given it a little bit more oomph to it and given it a little bit more SEO juice. So now it's one more place that I have Jen Maher, one more place that I have Nerdville, and it's also telling that end user, if they are having it read to them, exactly what it is. It's a link to the partners that I work with. So that is something that you're going to want to do. Make sure that you're doing for all of your images. You're also going to want to make sure that all of your links are working, that nothing is broken. You are going to want to, if you want to go a little more in depth with the SEO, you can put descriptions in each of your pages, and I highly recommend doing this. The title can be changed. So my page title for this is contact, which is a little bit more generic. I want it to say contact at the top of the page. I want it to be the contact page. But for SEO, I can make that a little bit more appealing, I guess, for someone. So I could say, like, work with us, or, we're here to help, or something like that. So you'll want to change that. And then the SEO description is, again, kind of like we just talked about for the main site SEO description. You're going to want to make sure that each of these pages has a description that is conversational in nature, that includes some of the keywords from that page, that matches the content, but it gives you an opportunity. Like, you don't want to just copy and paste the content from the page and put it in here. You want to be able to summarize it and put it into a nice little neat package, and maybe even be able to throw in some other keyword information that goes above and beyond what you might have in the page itself. But you want to make sure it's conversational in nature, and you want to make sure that it fits the content on the page itself. You can't trick Google. They will actually count that against you. So that's kind of the basics. There are another few things that we can do. If you want to go into a little bit more in depth, you can actually hop on a Zoom call with us, and we can help you with things like voice search optimization, which can be fantastic. There are some other things that you definitely want to make sure that you're connected to Google. So you would, in that case, go into settings, connected accounts. You're going to just simply hit connect account. You're going to click Google Search Console. You will then just sign in with a Google account, and that will connect your site to Google. But I highly recommend that after you've connected, I mean, that's major. You have to do that. Otherwise, Google basically kind of doesn't even know that your site exists. But after that, you're also going to want to log into Google Search Console, into Webmasters, and you're going to want to upload your sitemap, which Squarespace makes that ridiculously easy as well. You're going to want to probably periodically have some URL inspections if you change some of the data and information on your pages. There's just a lot of little things that kind of take things above and beyond. Google has kind of said that 90% of site visibility or good SEO has to do with what happens after the fact. So these things that we're doing that are groundwork SEO are essentially like kind of making it like your report card for your website is doing great. It's you're getting good points because you've done all of these things that you're supposed to do. But then Google, on the other hand, also wants to see, okay, this is a good site, but are people liking it? Are people on it? Are people spending time on the site? Is it getting shared? Is it getting backlinked? So traffic and backlinking are hugely important. So if you'd like, we can help you make sure that we can kind of help develop a plan to go further in depth for your actual SEO on the site and make sure that you're scoring even better that way, and that your speed is good, all of those things. But then we can also help you kind of create a plan for traffic and backlinking. So let us know if you need help with that. But at least if you do these steps, you're doing the most, or at least something to kind of put your best foot forward with those search engines. So good luck. Let us know if you need anything.